Hello, everybody. My name is meteorologist Hutch Johnson, joining you on this Thursday night. We do have the remnants of Francine ripping right up the Mississippi River Valley, heading through Memphis, torrential rain, tornado watch in portions of Alabama, and we have severe thunderstorm watches in the northern plains as a low pressure system rolls out of the northern Rockies. We're going to cover all of this, have a look at what we can expect, and a view of the northern lights that was incredible. It all begins right now, but first, let's take a look at the goings on right now with, well, Francine in the southern plains near Memphis is where the central area of pressure is right now. The winds with this have really died down, but the rain has not. Cape Girardeau, Missouri, and the Boot Hill right here all the way into the Paris area. And Nashville, seeing some heavy rain bands working their way through right over Memphis. As we zoom out just a little bit in the Birmingham, Alabama area, the red area, that is an area of a tornado watch. Now, as we take a look at the details on that tornado watch, pardon me while I get to the right screen here. Essentially, what we're looking at with this tornado watch is that we will have a risk of tornadoes associated with the storm. It's until 10 o'clock Central Time. If you happen to be in the Eastern Time Zone out there, that's 11 o'clock Eastern Time. We're expecting some wind gusts with these storms in the order of 60 miles per hour. And that, again, that watch is in effect for much of areas of central Alabama, including Birmingham, Clanton, on down to Montgomery. And the storms right now are just off to the west of Birmingham as we take you in just a little bit closer. Now, let me see if we've got the warnings turned on so you can see them. Yes, we do. And as we are currently sitting, no active tornado warnings with regards to these storms, but stout thunderstorms moving into the Clanton area, as well as you folks in Tuscaloosa, just exiting you, heading right toward the the interstate corridor there on I-22 near Jasper Parish, as well as, Pleasant Grove here in the short term. So be prepared, stay weather aware if you are in these areas as we have a look at these storms. Let me go ahead and zoom out and take a look at some of the rainfall and precipitation amounts associated with the storms as well, heading into the evening hours. So as we take a look at the radar data here, let me go ahead and put in precipitation estimates from the storm. And this is a look at precipitation rate. So some of the heavier precipitation rates right now are focused in and around Memphis and moving up to Cape Girardeau. What do these numbers mean? Well, we see some of these pinks here. We're estimated by Doppler radar upwards of 1 to 2 inches per hour rainfall rates, and moving into the western and eastern fringes of Memphis, particularly on the east side here, 1 inch per hour rainfall rates at this time. And as we take a look at the amount of precipitation estimated by the Doppler radar, this can be skewed quite a bit by hail in these storms. But as we take a look at Memphis here in the blue, estimates of rainfall between 3 and 5 inches of rain anywhere you see the dark blue colors from Truman into Millington, as well as Collierville. Those areas seeing some very heavy rain making their way through down to the south, Yazoo City, as well as Greenwood, on into Jackson, Mississippi, and the area around Jackson, more so just off to the east of the Jackson area and off to the west of Jackson. Rainfall estimates in Jackson, no picnic. 2.1 inches of rain there. And as we look out towards Magee, looks like 4 to 5 inches of rainfall over my shoulder here. So a lot of rain falling from this system. Flooding and flash flooding will be a concern. There's terrible amounts of rainfall as well in the panhandle of Florida and southern parts of Alabama. So tornado risk if you're in and around central parts of Alabama. That lasts until the 10 o'clock hour. Now let's get up to the northern plains where we have a smattering of thunderstorms rolling out of the big sky country of Montana and just now starting to push into parts of the western Dakotas. There have been some wind reports. We do have some active thunderstorm warnings, and I'll go ahead and pop up the normal radar view here. So you can take a look at where the storms are. Now, near Miles City, Montana, and just south of Interstate 94, the yellow boxes, those are severe thunderstorm warnings. So we'll take you in and take a peek at the storm that's causing the warning right now. The pink cell that you see here producing the warning. The warning is for the areas basically in rural parts of northeast Montana, south of Terry on I-94, if you know where that is. Great restaurant there, by the way. 1 inch diameter hail, and we do have some 60 mile per hour wind gusts. Those are the main concerns with this storm. It's moving more in a northerly direction, northeast at about, Can you believe that? It's moving at 72 miles per hour. So let's just put this into perspective. The winds that have been gusting out of the Rockies and the western Dakotas today have been strong, but if a storm is moving that fast at 72 miles per hour, any wind that it burps out could indeed cause some loss of, well, tree branches, limbs, and gusts of wind over 60 miles per hour may indeed be possible from that particular storm. We do have some strong thunderstorms now developing in parts of western North Dakota, and a strong cell is just near the Newtown area outside of Minot. Now, the area in the blue box that you see behind me, that is an advisory, and really it's more of a statement issued by the National Weather Service Forecast Office. What this means is this storm is strong, but it's not qualified as severe by definition as meteorologists have it. Now, meteorologists say 1-inch diameter hail, 58 mile per hour wind gusts or greater. That is what triggers a severe thunderstorm. This one is close. We're talking about hail size estimates here from the Doppler radar, and the weather statement says moving northeast at about 38 to 40 miles per hour, moving towards Stanley, moving towards Kenmare. The areas in pink here, that's the stronger part of the storm just outside of Plaza, moving into partial. This pink core here would be the hail potential with the system as well. So why don't we go ahead and turn on the single site radar data here so we can get a little bit better detail pixel by pixel version. So as a meteorologist, I can look at the latest scan and then basically take a peek at where the greatest risk for the hail is right now. Let me turn on the individual sites. Let's go to the area outside of Minot at the Deering radar site. And here we go. Partial, look at this, that hail core, way different location than on the last radar we showed you. That's why I like to load the local single site radar in. It's coming in right now. Now, near Palermo, and also if you're in Plaza, this is a strong storm where we see the blinking or flashing blues here. Those are the highest reflectivities, and the potential for hail with the cells could be increasing just a bit as well. Now, when we go ahead and turn on the cell tracking here, you can see the cones with each cell and where it's moving, and it's moving in the general direction of Kenmare, and the outside, the end of this box is where it's expected to be in about an hour's time. So that cell moving in that general direction will be there on the outside of a half hour to an hour, moving northeast at about 43 miles per hour. So again, you can expect some hail on the order of nickel size. That's 0.88 inches in diameter from that particular cell right now, but it does look like it could be increasing just a little bit as we go through. So let's take a look here. I've got some more information coming in as we speak. Pardon me, while I read what the Weather Service has to say about this. Okay. All right, so what we're looking at here is a storm system moving to the north, and looking at the National Weather Service Forecast Office in Bismarck, North Dakota. They're keeping their eyes on it. There's some pictures that are coming in of some thunder and rain in the Stanley area and moving up towards the Kenmare area. So this is the area of storm that we're watching very closely at this particular time. Now, as we look down to the south of this area, what you're going to notice is near the South Dakota border. So I'll switch radars over here. This area of southeast Montana, from say Miles City to Broadus, Ekalaka, and Buffalo, through Dickinson and all the way down into Buffalo, South Dakota. You're a long ways from radar sites. The closest would be the Rapid City area radar, and that'll give us the best view. But these storms that are moving into southern North Dakota are a long ways away from any radar site out there. So we end up looking more at the top of the clouds. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning for this one in rural Montana. That storm cell moving northeast at that 70 mile per hour clip was the last estimate. Essentially, the storm there is just off to the west of Plevna, and that's in Montana. New England, Mott, you guys have some strong storms, and there's Interstate 94. That's the Dickinson, Taylor, Richardson area. That'll be seeing some strong thunderstorm activity. And I do want to point out that right over Regent now, this is a beautiful part of North Dakota if you've never traveled through here. And there is a highway out here called the Enchanted Highway. Some huge and beautiful metal structures out there. And this storm moving right over Highway 21 now does have the capability for some hail as it's making its way to the north. So that's what we're watching. I can take a look at some of the other radar products here, including some hail size estimates and gust potential. But let's go ahead and take a look at maximum estimated hail size. So the colors are going to change here for you just momentarily. I'll turn these cells off. And as they do, we'll zoom into the areas here impacted by the radar from Rapid City. And I'm not seeing any hail size estimates popped out by the colors on this particular radar. So we'll go ahead and switch to another product, which is going to, let's go with a look at the let's look at the base velocity. There was the potential for a little bit of shear in the area here, and I'm just going to see on this long range view if I can see anything that looks like there is some shear in the storm. There is maybe a little bit in this storm, but it's so far away from any radar site outside of Miles City, Montana, that it's really hard to discern that there's anything there to be concerned about. And the probability of severe hail. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Maybe I'll switch over to the Billings radar here to look at that Montana storm that is warned. It's a long ways, again, from the radar site. So let me see. Not showing up any color. Here it is. So here's the probability of severe hail with the warned storm. And as you take a look at the increasing colors in red, that's where the increasing potential is for the hail. And they're recording this as about an 80% chance in one isolated area of this storm. Otherwise, about a 30 to 50% chance of severe hail, 1 inch in diameter or greater. So that's from that cell. And looking at the storms that are moving into the partial area, you notice here, now we'll have to go to a closer radar site, so we'll turn that on for you right now. And as we look at the Deering radar site here, let's see if we can load that product up. Maybe it's not going to be happy about that. Let me go to the Bismarck site and see if that one will let me do it. Okay, let's just go to base reflectivity, and now let's go to the Bismarck site. Okay, so it's going to be a little bit of a pill here and not let me switch to the radar site that's over here in the area. Let me see if it'll let me get back to the Rapid City radar here. And it's just being slow. So the storms right now, as it sits, we have some strong ones moving into the general direction of the Highway 2 corridor up between the Williston area and Minot at this hour. Let me go ahead and load up the radar that blends all of these together, and we should be able to see. Here it is. There we go. Okay, so here it is. We do have some storms in the western reaches of North Dakota. There's been a new watch issued for this area, so we'll put that up for you now so you can see. The severe thunderstorm watch is now extended into western North Dakota. This includes Williston, it includes Dickinson, it includes Beach, North Dakota, as well as you folks in the oil patch near Sidney, Montana. Now, this watch that was issued on this side here, this is in effect until, let's get the timing for you, in effect until 11 o'clock Central Time. Okay, so 10 o'clock Mountain Time. So as we go through the next about 3 hours and 16 minutes or so, this watch is in effect. So we'll be keeping our eyes on it. The main risk is going to be hail upwards of 1.5 inches in diameter, 85-mile-per-hour gusts. You see that there? 85-mile-per-hour gusts will be possible. Why? Because the winds around the area are very strong already. And as I mentioned before, if these thunderstorms burp out any flow at all out of the storms, they're going to have some significant winds. By the way, if you're preparing for winds and you're at the house, batten down the hatches, the wind will be coming from the south and pushing to the north. So the winds will be coming from the south. So you want to stay away from windows on the south side of your property. And again, trees on that side of the house, they will be falling generally in that direction. And anything over 60 miles per hour can really cause some pretty good sized trees to be felled by the winds of the storm. Now, if we look down on that Regent area storm, we're starting to see an increase in the reflectivity, or there's some pink starting to show up. So that storm is intensifying just a little bit. Bison into South Dakota, as we look down south of Lemon, that cell is also increasing in intensity and just firing up. Hot Springs down now to the south of Rapid City in the Black Hills, beautiful country there as you head in towards Custer and the Mount Rushmore monuments out there. Those storms are generally guiding and moving into that northerly direction. So that is what we have at this particular time going on, a severe thunderstorm watch for western North Dakota until 11 o'clock. Strong cells developing there. Severe thunderstorms along and just south of the Interstate 94 corridor outside of Terry, Montana are rumbling through. We have a strong cell near Circle, Montana, heading up in the general direction of Wolf Point, Culbertson, and Poplar, Montana. Hi, relatives. Hope everything's going good out there as the storms move in your direction. They're moving at a clip of 45 miles per hour, and it's one isolated or individual cell right there. And now let me go ahead and take a measurement tool out here and see if I can draw a line here to give you an idea. This one will pass between Poplar and Culbertson, so maybe near Brockton, right? Brockton's right here. Family lived there, so I know exactly where it is. It's about 30 miles away from the Brockton area. So that would put it there in about 30 minutes or so, a little bit more than that. So in Brockton, you may be preparing for a strong thunderstorm. At this point, it is not severe to make its way through that particular area. Now, as we look out towards the west in Jordan, there's a strong line of storms there. Let me read the one that's heading in the Brockton direction. Again, 45 miles per hour moving north. Gusts to 50 miles per hour will be possible. That's the main threat at this time. No mention of huge hail with that storm. We're not seeing a lot of reflectivities that indicate that. By the way, in Jordan, Montana, that storm could have some gusts to 50 miles per hour, but it's coming with hail potential, 3/4 inch diameter hail, says the National Weather Service. And that storm moving at 45 miles per hour to 50 miles per hour will be pushing right into Jordan shortly as the crow flies. Let me get you a measurement. That puppy is barking right down here. Let's see if I can measure that. There we go, is only about 17 miles away from you in Jordan. So, about 20 miles per hour, 15 miles per hour, and it's moving at about 40 miles per hour. So less than half an hour, about 17 minutes. That storm will be in your general vicinity there in Jordan, Montana. So that's a look at the regional radar here as we take a look. And as promised, I did mention, boy, we've had a lot of wild weather here in the Northern Plains and some surprise appearances of the Northern Lights. There was a chance of the Northern Lights, but we had such thick smoke from wildfires in the region, it's hard to see. But uploaded to my website, hutchesweather.com, and you can find that right here. Go to hutchesweather.com and you'd see the very latest in what's going on in your weather if you let it track where your location is. But if you go down to the bottom of hutchesweather.com where it says your photos and videos, that's where you click. And these are some dandies from the Northern Lights here in the Dakotas and Minnesota. Unbelievable pictures and really quite a commitment for those folks to get out there and take a look at the sky in the overnight hours. Just absolutely stunning photos here captured in an area called Twin Valley, Minnesota by Melissa Smith. Look at the gorgeous colors reaching upward into the sky. Now, to the naked eye, they weren't quite this vibrant. This is an extended exposure, but it is a practice used by a lot of photographers of the Northern Lights to capture some of those colors that we cannot see by the naked eye, thanks to all of the it's light pollution in the area, as well as, all the particulates in the atmosphere. Just look at this. It looks like it's raining green slime, if you will, just penetrating down is how that looks. It's just amazing. Melissa, thank you for taking the time. More uploads of the Northern Lights from the Minot, North Dakota area out there, not far from the base, 2 miles east of Minot on Highway 2, heading in that general direction of Rugby, North Dakota. And look at the colors there. Magnificent. So thanks a lot to everybody who took the time to upload their photos of both wildlife. And this was the smoke we were dealing with yesterday in the Northern Plains, much of Minnesota. Air quality alerts from wildfires in the western United States as well as northern Canada. That has been swept away. And overnight it cleared out enough to allow you to see the Northern Lights. Thanks for watching. Let me see if there are any questions here on my channels. I do appreciate that. You can always check in, make a comment, let me know where you're watching from. I love to see that. Hi, Julia. Good to have you on board. Marvin, good to see you. Tracy, thank you very much. Kittson County is going to be quiet there in Kittson County until the storms get, I think the better chance will be actually tomorrow afternoon and evening for Kittson County for a couple of thunderstorms after dinner. So enjoy a nice dinner, batten down the hatches. I think wind will be the main threat with these storms. The risk of severe isn't zero, but it does look like a possibility for some storms. So as we take a look at the map here, here is a look at today's risk of severe weather. You can see the remnants of what is Francine now mingling with Memphis at this hour and producing tornadoes in and around Alabama right now, central Alabama, heading towards Birmingham, a tornado watch. And we have that cell of storms working the way out of the high country of Montana. Putting on here for you the Storm Prediction Center's outlook for today for severe weather and enhanced risk along the Montana-South Dakota border here. The storms are expected to get firing there, by the way, between now and about 10 o'clock at night. So keep that in mind. And there's that risk of severe weather peaking out of the panhandle of Florida right on up into where we have the tornado watch, right? So they pin the tail right on the donkey there with that system, with the Storm Prediction Center highlighting the area of concern very early in the day. And here we go with those storms spinning their way through thanks to the currents in and around the former Hurricane Francine. Okay, now as we take a look at the risk for severe weather tomorrow, so ignore the risk for today and ignore the radar data here, but what you are going to see is that we do have a chance for some thunderstorms tomorrow, but they're really just garden variety at this particular time. My feeling, though, is that as these storms make their way into eastern North Dakota, the temperatures here will be in the 90s, the dew point will be in the 60s. That's enough heat and moisture in the air for quite a bit of energy. If they can get started around that peak heating time, which it looks like the timing will have it moving into eastern North Dakota, peak heating time, we could have some strong storms. And I do think there will be a risk of severe thunderstorms for a few of us here in eastern North Dakota and eastern South Dakota as this system works its way eastward. The better chance will come tomorrow dinner time, a little earlier than that in the Devil's Lake Basin. That's the way I see it anyways. Quiet weather across the desert Southwest, quiet weather for the most part in the Northeast, a couple of thunder showers in your forecast for tomorrow. Oh, and I got to tell you, there's going to be a continuing menacing system out here with Francine staying in the same area. You can see the little green highlights around the storm here. And those green highlights indicate the areas tomorrow that can expect severe weather. Same spots. Same areas. Strong thunderstorms, possibly a few severe. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. I sure appreciate you taking the time to watch. I've been broadcasting weather up in the Northern Plains for the better part of 28 years. And not only that, I've taught college level meteorology in the classroom to college students for the better part of 17 years. I love talking weather, worked a little research at the NOAA labs in Boulder, Colorado, and I just love talking about the weather. If you liked what you've seen here, give this video a like. I sure appreciate that. If you're following on Facebook, that's great. If you're not, hit the follow button. I sure appreciate it, and it does help. And if you're watching on my YouTube channel nationally, let me see if I've got any feedback for you or any questions from any of you out there tonight. And yes, we do. Joe, good to have you on board. Let me know where you're watching from if you're checking me out on the YouTube channel. I appreciate all the subscriptions there. Hit the subscribe button, and as they say, pound that like button if you liked what you saw here today. In other words, I'll be back with an update on your forecast here in the Northern Plains. I'll have an update coming up a little bit later. I'll continue to track storms here. But for now, I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. You're watching Hutch's Weather. You can find more information on these fine channels on Facebook. Follow Hutch Johnson, Chief Meteorologist. Subscribe on YouTube to Hutch's Weather. And as always, hutchesweather.com for the very latest. Until next time, stay tuned and stay safe.